Mike, do you want to tell everyone your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions? Talk about your tears, your blood, and your sweat that you put into watching that game on Sunday.
I had no tears, but I was pretty shocked. Um, I will admit that this game started at 10 a.m. Western time, and I got some much needed rest, and I woke up at 10:30 Western time. So I woke up to a 7-0 deficit to the Bears, and I was pretty shocked to find that. Um, and to be honest, once the game became a 14-0 deficit, and they went to halftime and they came back and they showed no signs of life on offense, I stopped caring. Um, 3 weeks, okay, before the Packers game, I was already throwing in the towel. Like, let's just go fucking get the first pick. I don't care. This team sucks. The head coach needs to go, right? So let's actually get into the Bears game, though. Raiders lose to the Bears 12-30. The Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears. 12
You
to
know,
30.
I always notice you pronounce it Chicago. I always say Chicago, like
I'm
sh.
right. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people say Chicago. There was another word that just came out this weekend that people say differently, but I'm forgetting what that word was. But I just say it because, or at least maybe I've just taught myself to say it because I read Chicago, you know.
Mm.
But um, the only positive, and unfortunately, I actually didn't really get to notice this, but I'll read off some stats. The only positive from this game, and this is a good positive to have, was Tyree Wilson, the first round pick. I think Max Crosby also got a sack, but Tyree Wilson, I want to say, got his first career sack in this game. He had an 82.9 PFF grade, which was the best on the team this weekend. He had 2 pressures, 1 QB hit, 1 sack, apparently a forced fumble, 2 stops, and a 13% win rate. This is all from Tristan Kuhn on Twitter. Um, that's all the positives I think I have for this game and probably this episode of the podcast. We're about to get really negative. This was the worst that I can remember a Raiders offense since Jamarcus Russell. And I should like this week, but also like this season. It's really bad. And oh, that's right. Josh McDaniels, the head coach, is calling plays. He's also like the offensive coordinator, or at least the play caller. That's not good. It's not good. Um, so at some point during this week of practice, Josh McDaniels decided to start Brian Hoyer instead of Aiden O'Connell, which last week on the podcast I was kind of back and forth because I felt like Hoyer was okay against the Patriots. Granted, he didn't score a touchdown when he came on the field against the Patriots. And oh, by the way, he actually did throw a touchdown this week against the Bears. To the Bears, it was a pick 6. Thank you very much. Brian Hoyer was 17 for 32 for 129 yards, a 4.0 average per completion, and 2 interceptions, one being a pick 6. So I don't even think Brian Hoyer threw a touchdown in the preseason. And I think the only touchdown that he threw, again, was a pick 6, I think, to the Rams. So Brian Hoyer has thrown 2 touchdowns this season for the Raiders, and they're both going to the opposing team.
You know who Brian Hoyer reminds me of?
Please say Jimmy Garoppolo.
He reminds me of like Sam Darnold a little bit. Like the offense doesn't really go anywhere.
He's Sam Darnold in like 15 years.
Yeah.
If
Like
Sam Darnold's somehow still in the league.
bald Sam Darnold. But Darnold has a better arm.
Yeah. Aiden O'Connell eventually came into this game late in the fourth quarter, way after I would have put him in the game. I probably would have put him in the game at after halftime. Honestly, I mean, you're down 14-0 against the team that should be the worst in the league. And bear in mind, they were playing their third string running back and their second string rookie quarterback who's never played a down in the NFL ever. And you're getting, like, they weren't tearing them up, but like, I mean, the run game kind of was, but
an undrafted rookie at that too.
Yeah, and I just don't understand
he
how you
looked
can
pretty
lose
good.
to that. He did.
He looked pretty
He
good,
did.
but the Raiders kind
did.
of made him look good.
They definitely
But he looked
did.
confident. He came in there. He was like, the next Brock Purdy.
I have some stats from Twitter just to see if I can find it really quick.
Okay.
About Bagent. I'm assuming is his name. Bagent.
Tyson Bagent or Bagent.
Come on, where's it at?
While you pull those up, can I share my thoughts?
Let me say it really quick, just so I don't forget it.
Yeah.
Okay. Tyson Bagent's 2.5 yard average depth of target was the fifth lowest in a game, minimum of 15 attempts, over the last decade. Second lowest in a win. And then there's something about Ryan Tannehill. But, like, they were able to beat you on 2.5 yards per attempt. Like, that's insane. They were just chunk playing the shit out of us, and our defense was bending. And then once it came to, second and goal on the 3-yard line, they finally broke, and they gave up the rushing touchdown to their running back. They just chunked the shit out of us, and they beat us. And they could do it because our defense sucks, and our offense is even worse with Davante Adams and Josh Jacobs, Jacoby Myers, right? And it's all the quarterback play. It's all the play calling. And I would say the offensive line is not helping. Mm-hmm. It's insane.
So
go ahead.
I saw the game too, and my immediate thoughts are you guys are not establishing the run. And it's hard to establish the run when the box is loaded because you can't pass the ball. Brian Hoyer was throwing the ball to Davante Adams and Jacoby Myers almost exclusively. And
I don't know. Yeah, you can kind of see that. This was his average depth of target, per play.
Mm-hmm. You're not stretching any defenses like that. No, I see it. I see it.
The green was on the left side of the field for him. All the completions essentially were on the left side of the field. And the deeper he'd throw it, the more inaccurate, incomplete, and interceptions he would throw.
Mm-hmm.
He only completed 2 passes on the right side. The rest were all on the left.
Yeah. So, and those were a lot designed or a quick slant. But, I really noticed he kept throwing to receivers who were double and triple covered. And then next thing you know, it's fourth down and you got to punt the ball. And then the defense, could not stop D'Onta Foreman and Tyson Bagent. Yeah. Let's just call him beauty pageant. How about that?
Is there any way that you can pull up the tweet that I last sent you on Twitter on the screen?
Michael, don't be silly. There's a way. When there's a will, there's a way.
This is a quote tweet from Tristan Kuhn, but it's the video and original tweet is from Marcus Johnson at the Mark with a C, John NFL. Just look at this play. This is Michael Mayer. So focus on Michael Mayer on the right side of the line, right? Obviously Hoyer's at quarterback. Looks like the second quarter. The first read is Michael Mayer.
Okay. I'm going to break this down too from what I see. Okay? Or do you want me to just play it through and then after?
No, you can break it down. I think it's going to be play action, but I don't know because they have a fullback.
It is play action. Okay.
So the linebackers are kind of sitting because they think, oh, this might be a run.
So far, so good. Okay. Mayer is going to be wide open right here.
Yes,
That's where this.
sir.
That's where
And
this ball needs
Hoyer
to
is
go.
already looking.
Okay. Throw the ball. Throw it.
If you don't throw it there,
If you don't throw it there,
it.
throw it to Jacoby Myers. He's about to break open right up here.
Right, but what I'm going to say is like press play and then pause. If you don't
And then
throw it here,
also Devontae. No,
you got a safety.
trouble with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, you pick. Take your pick,
Yeah.
Brian. It's right here or it's right here.
It looks like he's being indecisive right here because he sees both of them. But right as he's deciding to throw to Jacoby Myers, he has Mayer wide open for what might be a touchdown. Probably not. And like, it's not like he made the worst decision in the world. It's still a plus play for a first down, but it's like, dude, you could have had Michael Mayer for a 40-yard pass completion.
Yeah, this actually isn't a bad play because
it's not the worst.
If he does throw it over the top, the safety can get there because he has to throw that immediately. Like I'm saying, right here, throw it, hit him right here in stride. It might be a hospital ball though.
Yeah, but like,
or lead him to
the pocket's so clean, you can like pump it to Myers, have the safety bite on that a little bit, and then you have a touchdown to Mayer.
Do they give the other angle?
No, I don't think
on
so.
this replay?
Maybe.
Okay. But that still picks up a first down. It's not a bad play. I know you wanted the touchdown, but
I think my main point here is just, the past 2 weeks, we've been utilizing Michael Mayer pretty well, although it seems to consistently be the opening drive, the opening game script, where Michael Mayer is like written into the game script. Yeah. And he's looking at him. And then right here, he looks away. Right when he has the chance to throw it, he's already looked away. Like he's...
Okay, so he probably sees this linebacker on him. That's Tremaine Edmonds?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think it was a bad decision.
It's not the worst. It's just I want more players involved in the offense. And Davante Adams had maybe not press conference, but he was questioned by reporters, post game or during practice or after practice. I don't know when it was, but they were asking him like, what needs to happen for this offense to get more successful? He's like, we just need to mix it up. You know what mixes it up? Throwing it to your tight ends, not just Jacoby Myers and Davante Adams.
This is a tough throw.
It's a tough throw, but we're also complaining about not throwing deep and making defenses honest, is what Davante Adams said. We need to get the defenses to be honest. We need to open up the field. Plays like this where you write in a tight end to go deep, that keeps the defense honest when you hit on it, because then they're going to go, oh shit, we need to like not allow that again. And then you might be able to run Jacobs for 5 yards and not -1 yard or 2 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But the quarterback play period has just been annoying because they're not attempting to throw the ball deep.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I want to see more tight ends involved because that's always been McDaniel's thing with the Patriots offense. It was like Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez. Like, that's what I expected when they drafted Michael Mayer. Oh Jesus. But they're not using him like I think they shouldn't. Granted, he's a rookie, but it's like we gotta attempt deep passes. And at this point in the season, there's nothing to lose. You just lost to the Bears. Like, do whatever you want to do. Do double passes. Do reverse plays. I don't give a shit. But do something to make the defense not sell out for the run every play.
Mm-hmm. Just to clarify, I'm not making fun of Aaron Hernandez's death or anything. There is this meme. It's got Ken Murphy, the YouTuber, the baseball YouTuber, where he's hitting dingers and he's like hits this ball and he goes, "Gone forever, Aaron Hernandez." And that to me is just like, it's so funny. I always think back to that meme, and that was before Aaron Hernandez was no longer with us. So just want to clarify that, so nobody thinks I'm making a very distasteful joke. So yeah, but I mean, all right, going back to the Raiders, Brian Hoyer and Aiden O'Connell, even when Aiden O'Connell got in there, I noticed that they were forcing the ball into players who were double and triple covered, aka Adams and Jacoby Myers. Aiden O'Connell, however, actually threw the ball to other players. The first person he targeted was Renfrow, and Renfrow actually got a couple catches because of O'Connell.
I think Renfrow converted a 4th down late in the game.
Yeah.
And like O'Connell's stats to me are like a little, like I don't take him too seriously because it was garbage time. Like the game was over.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But I mean, compared to Brian Hoyer, right? So 17 for 32, 129 yards, 4.0 average, 2 interceptions, and a pick 6, right? In those 2 interceptions was a pick 6. Aiden O'Connell came in late 4th quarter, threw a touchdown, also had an interception, 10 for 13, 75 yards, a 5.8 average, right? So, I mean, he actually threw a touchdown, which again is garbage time. It's different, but, and yeah, you notice it on the screen when you're watching, it's like, oh, he's actually throwing it to like multiple players. So I don't know. It's annoying. I mean, Josh Jacobs, 11 carries for 35 yards. That's horrible. You're not going to get anything. This is the Bears. This is the Chicago Bears defense. 11 for 35. Wow. What is wrong with this offense? What is wrong with the offensive line? And I agree with your point. It is 100% the quarterbacks not throwing deep, not keeping the defense honest, which is what Davante Adams is saying. You're limiting your offense. You are complete. Like, that's why I was concerned when they signed Garoppolo. They were limiting their offense. And I think this is probably the right moment for me to talk about Derek Carr. I think he's been essentially, for lack of a better term, struggling with the Saints. And obviously the Raiders are struggling this season. Now, I still agree with my opinion that he was not worth his contract that he was signed up for, which was $40.2 million per year. And after this past offseason, it was going to be like fully guaranteed, and I just was not about that. But then again, now we have Jimmy G for what I think is now 2 years, this year and next year, pretty much guaranteed, for a little more than half the price. But he might be half the quarterback. He might be that fucking bad, especially for this offense. Because, I mean, the Raiders, they only won like 6 games, and the last 2, which they didn't win either of them, but Derek Carr didn't play in. But at least he was able to throw it deep quite a bit and keep the defense honest. Derek Carr was probably the reason why Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing last season. Not the sole reason, but the difference between this year and last year was Derek Carr for Josh Jacobs.
Mm-hmm. And also a contract year.
Yeah.
The motivation. Yeah. Well, it's still a contract year.
It's still a contract year for Jacobs, 100%.
But he wasn't paid like he is this year.
Yeah, and I mean, how upset do you think Jacobs is right now? Averaging, I mean, in this game, 11 for 35. That's not even 2 yards per carry. That's like, that might not even be 1.5. I could be wrong, but it probably is. But
11 for how many?
What? 11 for 35? Like 10 for 40. Oh, that's 4. That's 4 yards per carry. Wait, so oh no, my math's
like
off.
3 point, 3 point something, or
it's probably 3 yards per carry. Yeah, but wow, it's a little late for me. I was thinking 20 for 35, Jesus. But it's still horrible, right? Like, I know teams will want him in the offseason. And I'll get back to Jacobs. And I already talked about Micah Mayer. I'm kind of looking at my notes here. Jacoby Myers, he's been shockingly consistent for this team, and I really like him for this team moving forward, like past this season. 7 receptions, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Like, nothing to complain about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I have really nothing to say about the defenders. I already talked about Tyree Wilson and very quickly about Max Crosby. I have to get into Devontae Adams, and this is going to be a long conversation. And I'm not saying to switch the convo yet because I'm going to state something and then you can switch it. Actually, no. Do you have any last thoughts about the Bears and Raiders game? Because we're probably going to end it pretty soon.
So I did have a thought about what you were saying about Jimmy Garoppolo. And yes, he has been that bad. I'm not defending Jimmy Garoppolo, but here's one thing I will say. When he's been on the field, you know the Raiders' record when he has started?
Aiden O'Connell?
Jimmy
Jimmy
Garoppolo.
G. Sorry. My bad. I was looking at the comments. My bad.
We'll get to those in a little bit. Or, before the Devontae Adams thing.
When Jimmy G starts?
Yep, they're 3-2.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So, still technically a winning record.
That's what Jimmy does.
Yeah, that's what Jimmy does. He stinks it up, but for whatever reason, he just wins.
Yeah, so he was there for obviously the Broncos. Bills was a loss. The Packers. He was in for the Steeler game, right? That'd be his other loss. And then he was in for the Patriots game, but he didn't finish. So 3-2.
3-2.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would get a John Gruden. I'll tell you what, man.
I'd rather start Aiden O'Connell and just lose out.
John Gruden would hate Jimmy Garoppolo, dude. I don't think he would. I don't think they would coexist. Like have you seen the clips of like Chris Sims? Repeating the play calls. I could just imagine Jimmy Garoppolo like, can't we just go by numbers? Instead of like having to repeat the whole play.
But do you have any other thoughts about the Bears and Raiders game?
I thought that the Raider defense played worse than they did in the past couple weeks, which is a little alarming. But I don't know if they were just playing better than we expected, or if they're coming back down to earth. I really don't know what to make of it. Raiders are a confusing team, man. They have hit, they've hit adversity now, and this is the typical point in a Raiders season where things will be going good. They won week 1, and then they'll, out of nowhere, just something will happen, and then it'll snowball. The Raiders will just allow things to snowball. And this isn't a Josh McDaniels thing. This has been a thing for 2 decades now. Also Fonzie, thank you, for checking us out. Sorry that we're going a little overtime today, but you can finish watching the live stream tomorrow if you choose to. I thought, and maybe Jimmy Garoppolo has been helping with this, the whole mindset, but he hasn't been on the field. He's got glass bones and paper skin.
I did notice that at the end of the game, they had a shot of Jimmy Garoppolo sitting on the bench alone with Devontae Adams. And again, we're going to get into Devontae Adams, but it's been very widely publicized that if Devontae Adams isn't genuinely pissed off, he should be. I can't tell if the media is over doing it or if he's really pissed off and he's trying to get the message out. I really can't tell.
Mhm.
And I think he's a really good team player, and he wouldn't like throw a big fit or anything, but it's clear that he wants to win no matter what, and he wants to win on this team. But there comes a point where that frustration is going to really spill over,
Mhm. What do you say we get to some comments, then we talk about Devontae?
Yeah.
Paulina says, for the record, I grew up a Raider fan because of my dad, and now he works for the Niners. LOL. Hey, whoever writes the check, right? I would work for the Raiders. You know what I mean?
I would love to work at
No
Levi's.
income tax.
Yeah,
So
Las Vegas.
yeah, like, I mean, I would do it. Doesn't mean I have to like the team. So, Mark Davis, the first job that I know I can do for you is I can give you a better haircut than the one you have right now. And also, I might even be a better head coach than Josh McDaniels. I have no Super Bowl rings, but I'll tell you one thing: we're not losing to Tyson Bagent, beauty pageant, whatever you want to call it. Fonzie on the whole Chicago thing said heavy CH. So
Chicago.
Chicago. And then he asked if I'm Latin, because only his aunts and uncles pronounce it that way. I don't know if he's asking me or you. I'm assuming me.
I'm assuming you, because you said Chicago. Maybe he is saying me because he said heavy ch. I'm not Latin at all. Mm-hmm. I am white.
Everyone Caucasian. I know pronounces it like Chicago, except for Mike. And then Mike goes like really hard on the Chicago.
Yeah, I mean I've gotten a couple names wrong recently. I think I just said Bagent wrong earlier. Like when I first said his name, I said Biard. It's Byard.
Oh, Byard.
Somebody else's name. I think last week I said Hyrie Alexander. It's Jair.
And yeah.
and then the legendary one was
Illuminor. Yeah.
Instead of Illuminor.
Yeah. And then just earlier in the show, Zacchaeus.
Yeah. What did I say? Like fucking pickle.
Yeah,
Tre'Davious. I don't know.
Yeah, Tre'Davious. Joel says it was hard to watch that game. Embarrassing.
That's kind of why I stopped trying to. The only thing that brought me back into the game was Aiden O'Connell. The game was over, dude.
He was in with like what, 6 minutes left,
if not less. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, O'Connell should have been starting, to begin with.
Yeah, he should have. And I think as far as Bagent, maybe the Raiders defense were thrown off because all the film that they have on the Bears are completely different running backs and a quarterback that does not throw 2.5 yards per play. Instead, he might go and run. He might go and do this. He might throw to DJ Moore. Instead, in this game, it was just chunk. And apparently they weren't ready for that, even though that's like the one thing that you can be ready for. I don't know. I just whatever.
Yeah. And let's see here.
I mean, Bagent probably just took everything that the Raiders gave them, and the Raiders just kept giving it to him, because they're totally a bend don't break defense. Like they'll give you the under every time and hope that they can stop you on third down. But when you keep getting chunks and keep succeeding, and they were running, like if there were runs of like 15 yards multiple times, I feel like for the Bears running backs. So it just wasn't good.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say was like after the game, I think they asked about, getting Aiden O'Connell more playing time. And Josh McDaniels said something like, that I found very interesting. He was like, well, this isn't the preseason anymore. And, so Mr. McDaniels, if I may follow up, if it's not the preseason anymore, why aren't you trying to beat the other team that's playing their backup quarterback?
And if it's not the preseason anymore and that's your reasoning for not playing Aiden O'Connell, why did you start him against the Chargers? Which which felt like a complete reversal of what was reported all week, which was, oh, Brian Hoyer is going to be the starter. Like, from my point of view, it felt like all of the fans were making it clear we want Aiden O'Connell in this game. And then at the very last second, it was, oh, Aiden O'Connell starting. And they made it sound like, oh, all week we slowly ramped it up to where it was going to be Aiden. But I was like, this feels like it was last second, you know? And Aiden O'Connell I thought he was okay in the Charger game. It's just that he was getting pressure up the ass from Khalil Mack and company.
Mm-hmm. And
Couldn't
he didn't
do
know
anything.
where he wanted to go with the ball. But I would be more inclined to trust what I saw in the preseason than, like you said, against all that pressure they were facing from Mack and Bosa, especially Mack. He had 6 sacks in that game.
Yeah.
But all right, let me play devil's advocate here. Let me just sort of walk through the logic of why or how Josh McDaniels probably ended up starting Brian Hoyer. So, if I had to guess, O'Connell, obviously had the turnover late in the Charger game and, looked kind of lost in the game against the Chargers, right? So, what's his face? Has that in his mind. McDaniels has that in his mind. And then Hoyer is typically the backup on game days, right? Like, Hoyer is more similar to Jimmy Garoppolo than O'Connell is to Jimmy Garoppolo, right?
Yeah.
So the drop off is like it's not necessarily like that much different. Like, he's still just trying to run the offense and like do everything that they've worked on the entire training camp and not have everything drastically change for everybody. I get that. And then against the Patriots, Hoyer went in because he was already the backup, right? Like, he's the Jimmy G replacement, so to speak. And then Hoyer didn't look that bad against the Patriots, did he?
I didn't think he looked that bad, but he also did not get the offense going by any means. Like, he led them to like 2 field goals and, let's say, 6 drives, maybe 5. So I didn't care for it, but I also didn't hate it against the Patriots.
Yeah.
He didn't lose the game.
Yeah. So I think it comes down to that. I think he was afraid that O'Connell might lose the game to the Bears. And he's like, you know what? I don't think, he's probably like, Brian Hoyer, I probably know what to expect more out of him than Aiden O'Connell. And I think he probably felt like this game should have been a layup. And
yeah, they probably slept on the Bears, honestly. Maybe just the coaching staff, but I think so.
Yeah. So he thought it was a layup, and he didn't want O'Connell to go in. Like, O'Connell's got a mid-range jump shot. And Brian Hoyer and Jimmy Garoppolo, they can make layups. They've shown to make layups. And I think that McDaniels was just, thinking O'Connell smokes layups. Or, he smoked a layup last time. And the Chargers weren't a layup, but you get the metaphor. So I think that was on his mind, and he's like, I'm not going to lose a winnable game to get this guy reps. So that's probably why he had the preseason comments, oh, this isn't the preseason, but also he's like pissed off because like they just lost what should have been a very winnable game.
Yeah.
And not only that, they got blown out.
Yeah, they got fucking killed. Yeah, I think I agree with your thought process and what might have been his McDaniel's thought process on the quarterback decision. I just hindsight 2020 here, but what I saw from Hoyer was a guy who didn't lose a game that you guys were already winning. Whereas what I saw from O'Connell against the Chargers was a guy who almost mounted a comeback in a game where he was sacked 6 times by one guy, and the defense was giving it up at points. So I think in hindsight now and moving forward, I I would much rather see Aiden O'Connell because he actually gives your team a chance when your team is actually tied, whereas Brian Hoyer simply, for the love of God, does not. He does not lead the offense to 6 points. He leads the offense to 3 points or 6 points for the other team. That's what Brian Hoyer leads you to.
You know what Brian Hoyer does pretty well?
What?
Just get you closer to the next week. doesn't do anything else that well except for deceiving me at the nine. Besides deceiving me at the Niner Open practice.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to a little bit more comments, and then we're gonna move on to Devontae. Fonzie said Joel kick rocks. Hey, Fonzie, if you watch this later, be nice. We're supposed to get the fan base. You know, when we first made this channel, we figured there might be a little smack talk in the comments. It's inevitable. It's the internet. Internet's undefeated. Okay, I'm not gonna go here and challenge the internet. But come on, let's just be nice. Okay. Joel says offensive guru. Yeah. You know what's funny though? I've been on that boat with Shanahan before too. So it's funny how like similar the situations are a little bit, but how different that they're playing out currently.
Mm.
You know, so Shanahan wasn't good in the first 2 years. There was a lot of turnover and everything, but I mean, McDaniels, he just lacked creativity in this game. It was just drop back and, you know, throw to double covered people and then Jacobs run up the middle. Like the week before, I felt like he was a lot more creative. Or maybe even the week before that. So, you know. Why is Brian Hoyer starting a game as a Raider? He's 87 years old and hasn't won a game since 2016.
No, you mean 1916.
Damn, you know what? That's probably right. Because I was like, well, he started games in 2017.
He was with the Bears, wasn't
he? No, in 2016, yeah. But in 2017, he was with the Niners. So if he hasn't won a game since 2016, yeah, because I don't think he won one. CJ Beathard was the quarterback when they got their first win under Shanahan, so he didn't win one there. You know, if Hoyer hasn't won since 2016, I was told that a certain quarterback, who his name rhymes with Schmallen Schmappernick, I was told that they can't play because the last time that he, you know, won games in the NFL was how many years ago? And, you know, I guess if they know that you're bad, you can play.
Yeah, I mean, what this is...
You have no no political stance on anything. Like, I don't even know if Brian Hoyer has a favorite meal. Like, I don't know shit about Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, I just remember when they signed him, the big talk was like, oh, when he was with like the Patriots or whoever, he was really keyed in on helping the defense because he knows the offense so well and yada, 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 and like helping the defense game plan and shit. I was like, okay, like that's cool. He's a coach on the field, but I don't want to see him on the field. You know, like I knew I never did. And yeah, to be quite honest with you, I'd much rather see Colin Kaepernick start a game for the Raiders than fucking Hoyer. But the problem here is that Hoyer is a scheme fit for McDaniels, and that's kind of the ongoing trend with this offense as a whole. So,
call me crazy. I would rather see Jamarcus Russell come out of retirement and try to make a comeback with the Raiders than to watch Brian Hoyer play the start of the game. Like, is that a hot take? Like,
I'm laughing because I would too.
Yeah.
It's so stupid, but like I'd be way more entertained. I'd just sit there like, damn, he could still throw. Fuck.
Like,
even though
hey,
like all I can see is his belly right now.
Hey, instead of instead of the Raiders just being a bad team that's like absolutely miserable to watch, why not have it be the circus? Like,
Yeah.
Hey, Jamarcus Russell's coming in town. Sell tickets that way. Like, make it
Yeah.
a show.
It's literally Vegas where like every week it's a different fucking act. This week it's Colin Kaepernick. Come back next week for Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah. After
Next
that,
week-
Robert Griffin is coming back.
And don't
Griffin
forget
might
to come
actually
in
still...
week 16 for Johnny Manziel.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. Why doesn't a team do that? Like, it would
If
sell
you want
tickets.
the first overall pick, you could sell tickets and you could suck, but it'd be fun.
You know who should actually do that? The XFL. The XFL should actually sign these guys. They would get way more viewers.
I saw that The Rock sent like a letter or something to Kaepernick because Kaepernick sent a letter to the Jets recently when week 1 when Aaron Rodgers got hurt.
I think Kaepernick had a meeting with The Rock, in the XFL, but I don't, The Rock said he doesn't anticipate Kaepernick's going to play. I think they want him. I don't know what the deal is. But if I was Kaepernick, I mean, the NFL, it's not going to happen in the NFL anymore. Like, show everybody that you can still play by playing in the XFL and be the MVP there.
Yep. If I'm Kaepernick, I'm looking at PJ Walker, who is starting games for the Browns or playing in games because Deshaun Watson's been hurt, and I'm saying that's my best bet is going to the XFL or USFL and killing it because I deserve to be in the NFL and proving that that's true, right? And then a team will probably take you seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Because the amount of time it's been since he's last played, it's unrealistic. But yeah, like Jamarcus Russell, Johnny Manziel aside, like actually, like Colin Kaepernick is more interesting to me than Brian Hoyer.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to think of like other names that the Raiders could suit up, and I would rather see that.
Jeff Garcia.
You know what's funny, Jeff? Yeah.
David Carr.
Derek Carr. Just playing. We lost to a Division II quarterback. Yeah. It was a rough week.
Yeah.
Fonzie's got a couple Niner comments. I know Fonzie already tuned out, so I'm just gonna, move past
you know what this game feels like is like the Colts game last year against fucking that head
Minshew?
coach.
Oh, Jeff Saturday.
That's what this Bears game feels like, except instead of the head coach, it's the quarterback. Like, you cannot lose to that guy.
Yeah, it's insane. A game that you can't lose, but the Raiders lost convincingly.
Yeah.
So, Joel says this was the perfect game to start Aiden against a rookie. Rookie versus rookie. Oh, Aiden again, rookie versus rookie.
Yeah.
Hoyer being our backup has been a huge red flag. Yeah, it's really reflective of the coach, I think. And then it's decisions like this. Like, I don't know how long Josh McDaniels is going to last as the Raider head coach. Pissing off the fan base this much and, looking this bad. Like, it's not just that he's, making mistakes. It's that it's the monumental or, the magnitude of the mistakes, or at least the appearance of it. It's like a bad look on the Raiders. Like, It's one thing to be looking and rebuilding, looking bad and looking to rebuild. Like, I don't know what the Raiders are doing. They sort of gave off the vibe that they were ready to compete. And maybe we just placed that vibe on them, after we got really high on them in the preseason. But what I think it was, too, is not only did they sign Jimmy Garoppolo, but they restructured him. So you are now financially on the hook for him for the next 2 years. So through our lenses, we're looking and we're like, all right, so this is the vision that you had for the team the next couple years.
Yeah.
You're not doing
It's not
yourself any
good.
favors. Yeah, you're not doing yourself any favors.